Her actions were never outright cruel or loud with rejection. She didn't say I was unimportant, but her every gesture whispered it, quietly and consistently. It wasn't in what she said. It was what she no longer said, what she no longer felt. The signs were subtle at first, and I was too willing to explain them away. I noticed the way she sighed when I asked how her day was, the way her eyes barely met mine, or how her replies to my messages were increasingly short, emotionless responses like, okay, or whatever. Hours would pass without a word from her. I'd stare at my phone, wondering if she was just busy, or if I was simply no longer part of her thoughts. But I made excuses for her, told myself she was stressed or distracted. I believed that giving her space would bring her back. That space only grew colder. What had once been a pause turned into a pattern. Conversations dried up. Her laughter no longer filled the room. The gentle touches disappeared. The comfort of her presence began to feel like the weight of a stranger's silence. One afternoon, hoping to break the cycle, I came home early. I thought maybe a simple gesture, a warm conversation, a surprise smile, could start to bridge the ever-widening distance. But when she saw me, her expression didn't light up. It tightened. Annoyance flashed across her face, and without even trying to mask it, she snapped, "Why are you here?" That question crushed me. It wasn't confusion. It was irritation, as if I had disrupted something more important than us. I stood there, caught off guard, trying to process what I had just heard. But she didn't stop. Her voice was colder than I'd ever heard it, final in a way that left no space for hope. "You mean nothing to me anymore. Stop pretending this is something." The words shattered everything inside me. I felt like the floor beneath me had vanished, and all I could do was fall. There were no raised voices, no dramatic arguments, just the brutal truth, handed to me like an unwanted gift. I wanted to fight it, to plead for understanding, to ask why. But something inside me shifted. Something that had been clinging to hope finally let go. I realized that I had been carrying the weight of our relationship alone for far too long. I had been showing up for someone who had long stopped seeing me. And if I truly meant nothing to her, why was I still trying to be everything? From that moment on, I withdrew, not out of revenge or anger, but out of necessity. I stopped sending the good morning texts. I stopped initiating conversations, stopped planning little moments to bring us together. I stopped hoping she'd change. I turned inward, retreating into myself to preserve what little I had left. The silence, at first, was unbearable. The house echoed with loneliness, and the nights felt endless and cold. But in the stillness, something began to shift. Slowly, I rediscovered parts of myself I'd lost while chasing her approval. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected. I picked up hobbies I once loved. I returned to the gym, not to impress her, but to rebuild my own strength. People started noticing the difference in me. Some asked if I was okay. I wasn't, but I was becoming okay. I was healing in the quiet, learning to live without the person who had made me feel invisible. Then something unexpected happened. She came to me, weeks later, not with tears or apologies, but with a strange look in her eyes. A mix of regret and confusion. She said she missed what we had, that she wanted to try again. She asked if I could forget what she said, as if words like those could be erased. But I wasn't the same person anymore. I had grown in the pain. I had discovered that real love is not about holding on when you're the only one reaching. Love is not begging for scraps of attention. It's about being valued, seen, and respected. So, I looked at her and said the words I never thought I'd say. "I've changed. I'm not sure I want to go back to that." She left that night, and I don't know if she ever truly understood what she lost. But I knew exactly what I had gained. I had lost someone who couldn't see my worth, but in that loss, I found myself. I learned that sometimes heartbreak is not the end. It's a beginning. I didn't make a scene. I didn't burn bridges. I moved on quietly, with purpose. I rebuilt my life from the ground up, no longer asking anyone to validate my existence. I became enough for myself. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Never let someone's inability to love you convince you that you are unlovable. Your worth is not measured by how others treat you, but by how you choose to treat yourself. If you're holding on to someone who makes you feel small, unloved, or unseen, let go. Not because you're weak, but because your strength is finally ready to shine. That's where true healing begins.